Welcome to Q&A number 15 here at the Wrestling Unlimited YouTube channel and Facebook group page. If you want a question answered in a future Q&A video, please send them in to the Facebook group page or to my personal messenger, or tweet them to me, message them to me. I don't care what you do, but hopefully we get some questions like we got today. We actually got some good ones. So I look forward to doing these Q&As. There's not going to be a lot more because next week I go back to school. But hopefully I can sprinkle in an occasional 1, 2, or 3 Q&As over the next couple of weeks, hopefully. But that all depends on me, so just a heads up. This Friday, Q&A number 16 will be a Summerslam themes Q&A, so you could send in questions for that. Sorry for the lighting in this video. It's a little dark, so I apologize. Hope you don't care about the special effects BS of doing YouTube videos. So, and one more thing, shout out and a thank you to Walter Main for filling in for me for Q&A number 14. I was sick, so I couldn't do it. I was just so stuffy and everything. I just didn't want to sound like crap. So, without any further ado, Chris Rubio. Blue Jays and Mets are rolling right now. Any chance they both meet in the World Series? No to the meeting in the World Series. Not happening. You know, I'm a Mets fan through and through, but I don't think it's happening. I think the Mets will make the playoffs, but I think the World Series is kind of pushing it. In terms of the Blue Jays, now I have a little more confidence in them than I do with the Mets going to the World Series. Anything is possible. I just hope it's not the same two teams as last year. You know, because that's all we need is to have the Giants in the World Series again. You know, just do something a little different. Have, hopefully the Pirates win or the Cubs win or something. But I'm not sold on the Mets or the Blue Jays going to the World Series. Will Cena tie Flair's reign of 16 World Championships and then own the record with 17? If that doesn't happen, I'll be stunned. And I think that the 16th world title reign is imminent. It's happening sometime soon. The 17th world title reign will probably happen later down the road, probably sometime in 2016, or maybe even later in 2017. But I do think that the 16th world title is coming soon, and that's unfortunate, because I really think that it's Flair's record to keep, and it's not a record that should be broken. It's just my opinion. Who will be next in line to face Nikki Bella for the title? And will she hold it for 300 days and break AJ's record of 292? Honestly, who cares? And I don't mean to sound smart in that, but really, who does care? Because with this Divas Revolution that you've done, you've completely devalued and de-emphasized the Divas Championship. Not that it had value or emphasis before, but you're putting all this focus on these divas, and yet completely forget that they have a championship. I don't even remember the last time Nikki Bella defended her championship. Or hell, I don't even remember the last time that Sasha defended her championship. Maybe it was down in NXT. I haven't really watched NXT in a while, so, that's why I don't know. But still, you've completely de-emphasized the title, even though it was already de-emphasized anyway, but you just completely made it even more meaningless than it was. Who will be next in line to face her? Hopefully one of the NXT divas. I'm pretty sure at some point you're going to get a champion versus champion match with her and Sasha, or with her and whoever the champion is at the end of NXT TakeOver. So, you never know. How would you feel if they bring back the tag team titles for the divas? Oh, man. I'm going to be as brutally honest as I can. They can barely book the title they have now. And they can barely book the divas that they have now. So adding another title to that is completely stupid. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't mean to sound rude, but it's the truth. It's the brutally honest truth. Any surprise wrestler returning at SummerSlam? Sting? It's a possibility. Oh, not Austin. The Rock is a possibility. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprise at this show. I just don't. Who are your favorite picks to win AL Rookie of the Year, AL Comeback Player of the Year, NL Rookie of the Year, and NL Comeback Player of the Year? As unfortunate as this sounds, AL Comeback Player of the Year would probably go to A-Rod. NL Comeback Player of the Year, I gotta put my Mets in there somewhere. It's probably, I'm pretty sure Matt Harvey is a candidate. I mean, yeah, Matt Harvey would be a candidate. I can't really think of a lot of people off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of some because there really weren't a lot of big, huge comebacks this year. So those are my two, Harvey and A-Rod, for the comeback players of the year. In terms of rookie of the year, for the NL, I think it's Chris Bryant. You know, a lot of you people will say Jock Peterson, and I will point to his very dismal .220 batting average and his over-the-limit strikeout percentage and say, up yours, that ain't happening. I'll also give some votes to Syndergaard. I'm sorry, I gotta stick with my Mets here. I mean, they're finally doing something right, so I'll stick with Noah Syndergaard. But in terms of the NL, I'll probably go Chris Bryant. In the AL, probably Carlos Correa of the Houston Astros. Donald Joseph Riccardi, even though you hate Cena, do you admit that he toughed out the broken nose? First of all, who's to say I hate Cena? I don't hate Cena. I hate some of the stuff he's done since being on the top with all his championship reigns and his main event status. I don't hate Cena. I just hate the way he's been booked. I hate the way his character has developed or has not developed. So, yeah, I don't hate him. Just hate the way that he's been booked. Is there any point of WWE trying to use Big Show and Mark Henry in today's product to piss off all of the IWC that want actual wrestlers on their wrestling show when wrestling is nothing more than just scripted entertainment? But is there a point? No. Their times were done a long time ago. So, I guess their biggest point is mainly to put some of the younger guys over when, right before they go out the door. Andrew Kirk Burton, who is the more dominant wrestler, Brock or Taker? I mean, Taker's had the longer career. Taker's had more success as a professional wrestler. Brock's had more success as an amateur wrestler, a UFC fighter, and all this other stuff. Probably, in terms of a WWE superstar, I would probably say Undertaker. In terms of a real-life athlete, I would probably go Brock Lesnar. David James Rollinger, who is the hottest female jobber all-time in WWE. Her name is Trish Stratus. You've probably heard of her. Close second would be Mickie James. Donnie Johnson, Seth Rollins, at career's end, where will he stand in history? Will he ever stand in history at all? And I truly mean that. He will stand in history as a top guy of a bad era. in the WWE. A top guy, not the top guy. The top guy is John Cena. A top guy of probably the worst era in WWE history. And that'll probably tie into a question that I have later on the show that will earn Question of the Day honors. Jamie Ortega, thoughts on the Divas Revolution? I've mentioned it earlier that I'm fine with the Divas Revolution, but at the same time, you should put some value and emphasis on the actual championship too. I mean, you have all these divas and you're not involving the title into it, especially the three newcomers of Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha. I mean, you did all this to make the divas, to hashtag give divas a chance, and yet you make their championship even more meaningless than it was. So that's my thoughts on it. Do you think Becky Lynch will be Divas champion anytime soon? I see more of a possibility of Sasha winning it. But I'm pretty sure she will be. Yeah, at some point she has to be. At some point all of these NXT divas have to be. Do you pray to Brock Lesnar? I don't know what you think I do at night and when I go to church on Sundays, but that is a big fat no. Do you want some... Oh my god. Do you want some hot lesbian action, and from who? 2006... Excuse me, 2005 and 2006, Trish Stratus and Mickie James. Look it up. It's all I want. Hands down. Alec Costaville, why the hell did WWE feed Solomon Crowe to Ty Dillinger? I'll be completely honest, I have not watched NXT since Beast in the East. I have not watched it. I just, it's not that I don't care about it, it's just that wrestling as a whole has become a chore to watch, so adding on another wrestling show, do I really want to do that? Not really. I mean, just looking at it now, I don't watch TNA, I barely watch ROH, I don't watch SmackDown at all, I haven't watched a full episode of SmackDown in years, and I have not watched a full episode of Raw in over a year, so, it's pretty much the pay-per-views that I watch. And NXT is just, kind of falling off the map for me. Once again, because wrestling as a whole has become such a chore to watch. So, sorry, I want to answer your question, but I can't. Are you hyped for Baron Corbin versus Samoa Joe? I'm actually hyped for that TakeOver show. I will be watching that TakeOver show this Saturday, because why the hell not? I looked at the card, really good card. Crowd's expected to be great, sold out, so hey, I'm excited for that whole show. How crazy is New Jack? The craziest motherfucker in wrestling history, probably. And he did a lot of wacky stuff in ECW. He's just a wacky guy. All the scars on his body because he actually took real abuse in the ring and real abuse in his life, so, he was a crazy mofo. How can Mick Foley handle his 4 personalities? Why does he get so underrated for that? I mean, look at WWE today. Some of these guys can't even handle one character that they have. This guy's got 4, and one of them is himself. And he handles them perfectly, and he's booked perfectly with all 4 of them. And yet there are so many problems with booking just one character in today's WWE. This guy had 4, and he was booked perfectly with all 4 of them. Let's just think about that for a second. Yada yada yada. Fuck, marry, kill. Oh my god. Tamina, Chyna, and Santina. I don't think this question could get any easier. You gotta fuck Tamina, as terrible as that sounds, marry Santina and kill Chyna, because at the same time, with that being said, I would rather marry a guy than have sex with Chyna. I'm just saying. Or, for that matter, marry Chyna, because who the hell knows where Chyna's been. Let's just keep it real here. Will you finally answer my question? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. It's like Triple H security. Like, I don't get what that means. I'm sorry. If you ran into three WWE superstars in a back alley, which three would you... Jesus Christ. Which three would you most likely shit your pants upon seeing their faces? Undertaker is one of my all-time faves, so I have to go with him. Probably no, not The Rock. Probably Stone Cold. Fuck it, The Rock. Why the hell not? How many I keep losing my questions. My phone keeps locking up on me. How many times will I be fired this year? If none of you know what we're talking about, Alec, myself, and Tyler Harper host a radio show about wrestling. It will be back in a couple of weeks, so I'll let you guys know, like, when everything is, where everything is, and, you could follow it and whatever. But for those of you who don't know that, reason why Alec is asking this question is because ever since he came on, he's given the most ridiculous suggestions ever that we had no choice but to fire him repeatedly. So, how many times will you be fired this year? Well, let's see. I think you were on the show for a month and a half for 5 shows. So you were fired 5 times in each show. So it's 25 firings. Multiply that by 6. Alright, at least 150 times. You're going to get fired 150 times this year. That's got to be a record at some point. If my phone would stop acting the hell up. We will finish it off with Thomas Capley. In your opinion, what's the best era in WWE history? It depends on your perspective. A lot of the historical fans will immediately go back to the Hogan era. And that's understandable because the Hogan era is pretty much what put WWE on the map. A lot of hardcore fans will immediately go to the Attitude Era because it's pretty much the Attitude Era that brought a new edge to the company and pretty much erased WCW from history as a whole. So, and plus, a lot of the stuff that they did in the Attitude Era was completely off the wall and completely new and completely different than the original product that the WWE was giving. So a lot of people will go to that era. In terms of maybe the best pure wrestling era, a lot of fans will go to the Ruthless Aggression era and say that was the best era in the WWE because of all of the fabulous, fantastic wrestling. I'll side more with the Hogan era because without the Hogan era, WWE, and you know what, I hate Hulk Hogan, but at least I can do something that a lot of you can't, and that is give credit where credit is due. If the Hogan era did not happen, WWE did not happen. So that's, truth sometimes hurts, but guess what? It's the truth. And I could finally, I can actually say that. I can actually give my enemy praise for something that he's done. I can actually give credit to Hogan where credit is due. Without him and without that entire time period in the WWE would not be on the map. So, I would probably side with the Hogan era. Attitude era was great. Ruthless Aggression era was what got me into wrestling. But I think it's the Hogan era because, quite frankly, wrestling would not be what it was. Wrestling wouldn't even be a thing if that era did not happen. What do you think of TNA? at first I thought it was a good alternative for WWE. A lot of people were kind of growing old with the WWE product, and, a lot of old school fans hung on to the old school part of the wrestling business. So to see TNA come into fruition, TNA was pretty much a current version of WCW, at the time that it was created. So, those were my original thoughts on it. My thoughts now, looking back, is that they are completely dumb as hell. I mean, they have done so many things that have completely de-emphasized themselves and have completely devalued their entire product, and they've completely driven most of their fan base away with a lot of BS that they did in their short history. You gotta realize something. They haven't even been around 15 years. WWE's been around for almost 40. And I think TNA has made so many mistakes in just a short time. Somehow they're still on the air. I don't know how. But they've done so many things, like, continuing to emphasize old stars, not pushing new ones. Continuing to make terrible swerves and poor booking decisions that completely do not make sense. What else? Putting on crappy pay-per-views. What else? Leaving Spike, in the way that they did and going to the place that they wound up going to, which was Destination America. That'd probably be another one. Completely clueless ownership of Dixie Carter and that entire Panda Energy Corporation. What else? Poor creative team. At a time it was led by Vince Russo, so that would immediately make it a poor creative team. There's just so many things that I think about TNA, and almost all of them are bad. And that's a shame, because when I originally got on the TNA bandwagon, I actually liked the product that they were putting on. I look back at it today and I miss that. I look at it today and I think it's a joke, and that it shouldn't be in existence. So thank you all for sending in questions for Q&A number 15. I got some good ones. I went a little extended here, almost 23 minutes. I actually might cross over the 23-minute mark in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.